Morning, everyone. My name is DanielForman. I'm a partner at OurCrowd. I run our U.S. business development operation. Honored to be here speaking to everyone today. So what I want to do today is start by giving a general overview of the investment scene in high tech in Israel over the past few years. The most obvious and compelling metric that you want to look at when you see the really tremendous growth that the investment scene in Israel has experienced recently is the amount of dollars invested into Israeli high-tech companies. In 2013, Israel broke its own record and attracted almost $2.4 billion of investment into high-tech companies. 2014, they broke the record again. It was about $3.4 billion, and then last year, Israel recorded a whopping $4.43 billion of investment from both international VCs, angel investors, institutional investors, as well as local investors here in Israel. Now, as any good VC would tell you, amount of dollars invested is kind of a vanity metric. What does it matter if you don't see any capital return to you? And I can guarantee you Israel hasn't disappointed there either. In 2015 alone, this is actually an outdated deck, but there were 105 exits in 2015. And the value of those 105 exits was over $9 billion. So there's a tremendous amount of investment coming into Israeli companies, and just as much, almost double coming out and being returned to investors. Who are these investors that are taking interest in the Israeli high-tech scene? Names like Facebook, GE, Oracle, IBM, all of these companies that you see here have actually made an acquisition of an Israeli company in the past 10 years. And what I find even more interesting is that they're not only buying Israeli companies, but they're spending significant resources to set up R&D centers in Israel because they sense that there's something special going on in Israel. And they don't want to just acquire the technology, but they want to tap into the ecosystem and understand what is it that makes the Israeli entrepreneur tick. How can they take that and then implement it into their own companies? It's just a snapshot. John loves this slide. This was 1 week of activity in Israel. There was over $1 billion of exit activity in 1 week in acquisitions. As we talk about acquisitions, and the companies that come in to acquire these technologies, I think this slide is really testament to the fact that these, marquee names like Facebook and Oracle aren't just here to snap up one Israeli company and leave, but they realize that the innovation happening in Israel is something that's here to stay, and they're willing to pay a really significant premium to acquire those companies. This is the average transaction size over the past few years, and it's only gone up just like the investment and the amount of exits of Israeli companies. This is probably my favorite slide in the whole presentation. What it is the number of companies publicly listed on the New York Stock Exchange and the NASDAQ. Teeny tiny Israel is fourth only to the US, Canada, and China. So in addition to creating this vibrant technology ecosystem, attracting tons of investment and returning capital to investors, Israel has really come to the forefront of the public markets and has become a serious contender on the world stage. If I had more time, I would, drill into why Israeli investors are so successful. But I think if we focus on the verticals in which Israelis excel at, you'll kind of understand why and how they were able to excel in these fields. The most impressive by far, in my opinion, is water and agriculture. I lived in Israel for 7 years. I served in the IDF. I did my basic training in a place called Shifta. So for those of you who don't know what Shifta is, if you go to Beersheba, which is in southern Israel, continue about 45 minutes past that, make a left, and then another left, you get to this horrible place called Shifta. There you'll find a lot of very unhappy soldiers in basic training, flies and sand, and that's it. Israel is, largely desert, and it lacks a lot of it barely has any natural resources, especially rain. So the fact that Israel can emerge as a leader, a global leader in water technology, they're on the cusp of actually becoming net exporters of water to countries who don't have water themselves. So now they're leading in desalination. We actually invested in a company called CropX, which is a water management system for farmers. And I mentioned I don't have enough time to talk about why Israeli entrepreneurs are so successful, but the fact that Israelis can become the leaders in water technology, a country that has no water, just shows that necessity is the reason, and that breeds innovation, and that's core to every Israeli entrepreneur, and that's pretty much the mission of the entrepreneur. The other vertical that we're very excited about and that Israel has excelled in is fintech, and the third is machine vision. Machine vision is a machine's ability to view things just like humans do, understand it, and then make decisions based on it. We have one company called Sight Diagnostics, which is a surgical rehearsal platform for brain surgeons. The genesis story is kind of cool. There were two pilots, the creators of the F-16 simulator in Israel, were standing online for coffee in the States, and they met a brain surgeon, and they started talking, and they said, wouldn't it be kind of cool if we could create a flight simulator for the brain? Now, most of us would probably be like, yeah, that is kind of cool. These guys actually took it and built a huge company out of it. They're now selling surgical rehearsal platforms to surgeons all over the world. So far we discussed, jump ahead to OurCrowd. So far we discussed two major themes. One is the investment activity in Israel, and the other is the amazing technology coming out of Israel, which is made possible by the investment. So OurCrowd sits at kind of an interesting crossroad between that investment and the amazing innovation happening in Israel. We are an equity crowdfunding platform. What we've done is basically democratize the asset class of venture capital. So in the past, in order to invest in venture capital, you had to be buddy-buddy with a fund manager, sign in $1 million check, kiss it goodbye for 10 years, and leave all of the investment discretion to that fund manager. What we do is we provide vetted investment opportunities to our network of close to 15,000 investors at this point. They get to log on to the site, excuse me, pick and choose which companies they want to partake in at a minimum of $10,000. These deals are fully vetted by our in-house team of investment professionals, and they're actually investing at the same terms as our co-investors such as Sequoia, Battery, and Excel. Is that my... Okay. So to date, just wrap up here. To date, we've invested close to $220 million into almost 100 portfolio companies. Of those 100 companies, the portfolios realized 6 exits. That was 2 IPOs and 4 acquisitions. We have a community of almost 15,000 investors at this point. I would love to take questions, but I think we are kind of pressed for time. So I'll just wrap up by offering you to partner with us, whether that's in terms of investment or posting your company on the OurCrowd platform to raise investment. One of the most important aspects of crowdfunding is using the crowd to help the companies that we invest in. So if you are a professional and you think you could help a company or get involved in a company, we'd be happy to speak to you. Again, thank you very much for having me here, and I look forward to meeting you after.